Welcome to Panels and Borders. I'm Dominic, and this is another episode of Comic Covers. Now, I recently saw Deadpool, and I really enjoyed the movie. While I was watching the movie, I kind of started thinking about, when I used to buy X-Men comics and X-Force comics when I was in my early teens. Seeing Cable he was in the movie and stuff kind of really got me feeling a little bit nostalgic for the very early 90s. And so the comic book cover I'm going to talk about this week is going to be X-Force 1. And it was one of the first comic books I bought. It was probably the first comic I bought that actually came with cards in the... it was sealed in plastic and it came with cards. And it came with 2 cards. Now, this card here is basically just an ad printed on a card. As you can see here, a super powerful offer. X-Force card t-shirts. I really thought that was cool when I was a kid and wanted one of those shirts, but didn't exactly know how to get one. And I don't think they had any in my local comic store. But yeah, that really reminds me of the good old days, that card. And then this one here, just showcasing the whole team. This actually is a pretty cool card with the black frame and X-Force logo there. Actually looks pretty good. So now on to the cover. Writer Fabian Nicieza, penciler Rob Liefeld. X-Force 1, August 1991. And here is the cover. And I actually don't mind this cover. I can remember when this comic came out, there's a lot of hype for it in my circle of friends who all collected comics and stuff. And I remember running up to my local comic shop and grabbing this comic and thinking it was really cool. Now, I opened mine. I didn't leave it sealed. So I took the cards out and I wanted to read the comic. And yeah, it was an interesting thing because back in the day, this was an interesting time, the early 90s, because for years and years in my hometown, there was no comic stores. So it wasn't until I was in my teens, and this would have been, I guess, during the comic boom, as they call it, that a lot of comic shops sprung up. And one sprung up in my town. And it was, I thought it was awesome. I loved going there. It had all kinds of stuff you couldn't get anywhere else. And so I remember buying a lot of comics from that shop, and this was one of them. And now just to talk about Rob Liefeld's artwork here, Rob Liefeld is a bit of a controversial figure in comics. Probably not anymore. He used to be. I actually kind of miss those days when the only controversy in comics was Rob Liefeld and his artwork, but he was accused of using shadow artists, and he's been accused of not being able to draw hands and feet and things like that. And in my opinion, I don't think Rob Liefeld is a bad artist, but I kind of get the impression that Rob Liefeld is probably a lazy artist. You can look from the cover here, and like Cable is, like, all the rest of the characters are drawn pretty good. You have Cannonball, he looks not too bad. Warpath, Domino, Shatterstar, and then you got in pink with the green glasses there, Boom Boom, and then the kind of werewolf-looking girl there, that's Feral. And they all look pretty good, except Cable. Like, his crotch is really wide, his hands are really small, and his hands are really badly drawn. This doesn't really do good. This isn't good for the case that he can draw hands, this comic. But I think he's kind of a lazy artist, I guess, or I don't know, rushes or something. I don't know what it is, but I don't really think if he really wanted to crack something out that looked really good, I think he's capable of it for sure. And it's interesting, for him taking all the criticisms he's took about his artwork and stuff. One thing that you cannot take away from the guy is he, in the 90s, was a big name and he could sell books. He sold a lot of books, and I definitely bought this one because when I was a kid, I did like his artwork. And I still don't mind his artwork now. But as I've grown older, I can definitely see the flaws in it that kind of went over my head when I was a kid. That's kind of like a blessing and a curse of old age, I guess, is when you're young, a lot of stuff that comes out in the media and entertainment, it's flaws, you're blind to it, goes over your head. You can just get engrossed in it and escape in it, and you don't really see the flaws. As you get older and you consume more and more, as the years go on, you have more and more experience consuming media. You start to pick the flaws out through stuff, and you think more analytical, I guess, about things. So now I can see the flaws in Rob Liefeld's artwork now that I'm older that I couldn't when I was young. And another thing that kind of helps with that, about seeing the flaws of things, is actually social media, because now, especially with YouTube and all those things, there's videos upon videos of people picking apart movies and picking apart plots and picking apart artwork and comics and stuff like that. So the more of those you watch, you kind of learn how to do it yourself, and then the more and more you can see. But actually, I will say this: a lot of the artwork in modern comics, especially Marvel, I really makes me miss the days of Rob Liefeld, because he can draw a lot better than some of the pitiful art that's floating around there now. So so that's everything I want to say about this cover. If you like this video, subscribe and give me a thumbs up, and I will see you at the next one.